you ever wonder why we get that hit of excitement when something doesn't make sense? Like,
why does the weird feel so good?
Why does this feel good?
It turns out that's biology, not just belief. Our ancestors, the early humans, they weren't just hunting animals. They were hunting patterns. A rustle in the grass could either mean dinner or death.
It is a good day to die.
The difference between curiosity and caution, well, it's survival. Neuroscientists call it patternicity. Now that's the tendency to find meaning in randomness. It's why we see faces in clouds or hear voices in white noise.
Fine, you know what, Barney? Give this guy a cigarette. He's freaking out.
Barney? Who the hell is Barney?
You don't see oh, shit.
In 2008, psychologist Michael Shermer published a study called Patternicity, Finding Meaningful Patterns in Meaningless Noise. He explains that our brains evolved to over-detect patterns because false positives were actually kind of safer than false negatives. It means it was better to assume there was a tiger there than to wait for proof. So that ancient hyper-awareness, the instinct to connect the dots, that's the root of our fascination with mystery. Fast forward a few millennia, and that same instinct got a new playground. The unknown. We all became hunters of the unseen. And if you grew up in the 90s, then there's a couple people that championed this search for the unknown, featured in a little series called The X-Files. Mulder and Scully weren't just FBI agents, they were proxies for all of us. The eternal debate between belief and skepticism. Mulder's "I want to believe" wasn't just from a poster. It was a prayer from a primitive brain. In the episode Jose Chung's from Outer Space, an amazing title by the way, from season 3, episode 20, the show literally mocks our hunger for explanation. Everyone has a version of what happened. None of them match. It's chaos, it's confusion, absurdity, and the real point, the mystery itself is the story. That's how our brains work. We don't exactly crave truth. We crave the pursuit of it. There's a burst of dopamine that fires when we almost figure something out, according to a 2019 neuroscience paper by Gruber and Raghunath. I think I said that right. That aha moment, it's the same chemical hit as winning a game or eating chocolate. We're kind of wired to chase the unknown, not exactly to catch it. That is why when everything's explained, when Google has an answer before you even finish typing, something inside us deflates. Because mystery is the gym our curiosity works out in. Without it, our minds, they get soft.
I mean, you're being stupid. Stupid. Stupid! I'm not stupid, you're stupid!
No, you're stupid!
That's what the X-Files gave us, a workout for the imagination. Every episode ended not with closure, but with possibility. And that kept our neurons firing long after the credits rolled. But now, we're trapped in a culture of explanation. Every video, every headline, every theory debunked before it can even breathe. We've domesticated curiosity and turned it into content. But here's the thing, we can't kill the instinct. Even now, in a world of satellites and search engines, we still want there to be something more. It's why millions of people still believe in Bigfoot or UFOs or simulation theory. It's not stupidity, it's neurology. Our pattern-hungry brains need something to chase. So maybe that's what this all comes down to. Maybe we haven't outgrown mystery. We've just changed where we look for it. And that brings us to something a little darker. Because when the real mysteries start to disappear, that's when we begin making new ones. Like the legends that refuse to die, the stories we keep reviving even when logic says to let it go. That's where the hunt gets a little dangerous. Because mystery doesn't just shape what we believe, it shapes what we become.
The truth is out there.
So we've established why humans crave mystery. It's wired in, hard-coded, ancient. But what happens when the mysteries in the world start to disappear? Well, we start to invent them. We are the species that refuses to sit in the quiet unknown.
So that's unknown, unknown, Delaware, unknown.
And when the world becomes fully explainable, boredom turns into myth-making. Now enter supernatural. Yet the two brothers Sam and Dean Winchester driving across America hunting ghosts, demons, and things that go bump in the night. It's cartoonishly dramatic in some ways, but it's also the perfect metaphor for modern humanity. Because here's the thing, we've all become digital Winchesters, scanning the world for the unknown, armed not with silver bullets, but with Reddit threads, TikTok videos, and YouTube deep dives. Take the episode Ghost Facers. Season 3, Episode 13, a group of amateur ghost hunters document every creak and shadow, theorizing wildly, filming obsessively, and most of it is pure chaos. Sound familiar?
Speak to us, let your presence be known.
If you can hear us, give us a sign. What was that?
It is the internet in a nutshell. We document everything, analyze everything, speculate obsessively, even when the evidence is thin. And why do we do this? Science explains part of it. Let's talk about confirmation bias.
That was scary.
It's the tendency to favor information that confirms what we already believe. Now, there is a study from the 1960s that show participants would seek evidence that confirmed their hypotheses while completely ignoring anything that's contradicting them. Now, if you combine that along with our pattern-hungry brains that we were talking about earlier, you get a perfect storm. A rustle in the leaves now becomes a Bigfoot sighting. A blinking light in the sky, obviously that's a UFO.
I mean, yeah, duh.
And suddenly the unknown isn't just out there, it's trending. Now this is where hoaxes, hucksters, and content creators of the mysterious all start to thrive. They're tapping into the oldest human instinct with a modern twist. Curiosity monetized. I mean, yeah, we can think about YouTube channels that post top 10 unexplained mysteries or TikTok clips claiming the impossible just happened. The more ambiguous, the absolute better. Now even science-adjacent stuff gets the same treatment. People love to speculate about unsolved cases, like one of my favorite, the Dyatlov Pass, or the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. Mysteries that have a kernel of truth but have been stretched out into mythic narratives. And here's the kicker. Our fascination with mystery doesn't require it to be real. It just has to feel unknown. This is where Supernatural thrived. The series is loaded with fabricated folklore that never existed, like wendigos or shapeshifters, demons, yet the suspense and the thrill are identical to when the story references genuine myths. This isn't new though. Humans have been creating myths for a millennia.
That's a long time.
But the speed and reach of modern technology amplifies everything. A mystery that used to spread by word of mouth in a village can now go viral to millions worldwide in hours. And that changes the psychology of belief. We now have something called agenticity. That's the tendency to believe that events are caused intentionally by agents rather than random forces. Psychologist Justin Barrett wrote extensively on this in 2004. The same instinct that kept early humans alive, assuming that a rustle in the bushes was a predator, now makes us see conspiracies or ghosts and shadowy figures where none really existed. So it's no wonder that shows like Supernatural resonate so deeply. They dramatize our most primal need, the need to make sense of the inexplicable. We see ourselves in the Winchesters, searching, hunting, documenting, obsessing. And this is where things get morally interesting. Because the modern manufacture of mystery is not just entertainment. It can distort reality. False narratives spread, fear spreads, trust erodes. We've seen this in encrypted hoaxes and viral mysteries, and even pseudoscience. Yet, paradoxically, these manufactured mysteries also do satisfy something essential. Our brains, they need unanswered questions. Even fake mysteries fire the same neurons as real ones. The hippocampus, it lights up when you're trying to solve puzzles or understand uncertainty. So yes, the digital hoaxes, the clickbait conspiracies, the supernatural style hunts across the internet, they're a symptom of our innate drive for mystery colliding with a world that gives us too much access to answers, or sometimes answers that aren't even answers to begin with. And the really fascinating part, the need for mystery is evolving alongside technology. A 2020 study in computers and human behavior looked at how exposure to uncertainty online affects our attention and engagement. It turns out that the same primitive drive that made us hunt in the forest now makes us scroll compulsively, click endlessly, and debate in comment threads about cryptids or paranormal sightings just for the dopamine spike. The manufactured unknown isn't evil, it's human. It's the reflection of a species that must explore and theorize and chase shadows. But here's the caution. When our mystery is designed for engagement instead of wonder, our curiosity can backfire. We stop exploring the real unknown, replacing it with algorithm-optimized pseudo-mysteries. Because for every supernatural hunt we binge online, there is a fringe-like consequence waiting when our need to know meets the limit of reality. What if we finally solved it all? What if there was nothing left to wonder about?
That sounds horrible.
Would we be happier, or would something inside us go quiet? That isn't a philosophical question. It's the central anxiety of Fringe. Dr. Walter Bishop is the brilliant but broken scientist, and he spends his life chasing mysteries at the edge of reality. Teleportation, parallel universes, human evolution, each discovery is a triumph and a tragedy. Because with every mystery solved, something else unravels. A relationship, a belief, a life. The show's very premise that our quest to understand reality can actually even fracture it is a metaphor for where we are today. Because for the first time in human history, we're living in a world that gives us instant knowing. Every question has an answer, every myth a thread to pull, every unknown a search bar away. And yet we've never felt more uncertain. That's not an accident. It's a cognitive paradox, something that psychologists call epistemic fatigue. It's the exhaustion that comes from information overload. When the pursuit of truth becomes a stressor rather than a reward.
Brain explosion hurts so much.
A 2021 paper in Frontiers in Psychology explored this, showing that constant exposure to conflicting information online actually lowers our confidence in what we know. Or in simpler terms, when everything is explainable, we start doubting everything. And it makes sense. Mystery isn't just about the unknown. It's about the emotional terrain between knowing and not knowing. The curiosity, the awe, the humility that reminds us there's still something bigger than us out there. That's what we've lost. Not mystery itself, but the space to feel it. Every mystery today is immediately picked apart by experts and algorithms or 1,000 self-proclaimed analysts. And yet none of them seem satisfied. We've mistaken explanation for understanding, knowledge for wisdom, and it is draining us. In Fringe, Walter Bishop eventually realizes that his relentless curiosity, his need to know everything, cost him everything. It cost him the very thing that gave his discoveries meaning: connection. He sees that mystery in its purest form is what keeps us connected to the world, and maybe even to each other, but to something beyond logic. And the science backs him up.
Science?
He didn't say science. He said pie pants.
Pie pants.
Neuroscientists have found that awe, that feeling of vastness that transcends our understanding, it actually improves mental health. It reduces inflammation and increases altruism. So that means that mystery doesn't just make life interesting, it literally makes us kinder. So maybe the death of mystery isn't about losing ghosts or cryptids or conspiracy theories. Maybe it's actually about losing our sense of wonder. When you look up into the stars and feel small but not insignificant. Because mystery isn't just out there, it's what happens inside us when we encounter something we can't fully hold or define. That's why we still watch Fringe, even though we know the pseudoscience is impossible. Or why we watch X-Files, even though every monster has been explained. Or why Supernatural still gives us chills, even though we know it's just actors on a soundstage. We need the unknown, not to escape reality, but to make it worth returning to. Without mystery, art becomes sterile. Science becomes arrogance, and life becomes a list of facts, not a story worth telling. Maybe that's what this whole episode is even about. Not the loss of mystery, but the reminder that mystery is what makes us human. Because for all of our data, for all of our algorithms, for all of our beautifully rational explanations, we still dream, we still hope. We still stare into the dark, whispering, there has to be something more. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the final mystery isn't something to solve, but something to protect. If this made you rethink any series, or maybe even some own personal mysteries that you've encountered, just remember to hit that subscribe button. Or jump into the comments and let us know what mysteries you still believe. My name is Shell. Stay kind, stay curious. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you next time. Like X-Files, man, that was the show growing up. Watching X-Files now still brings that same awesome feeling, but it's so crazy to think that if that series existed right now, they could cut down the runtime by about 45 minutes, because there are so many parts of that show that revolve around getting to a phone or to a computer. If either one of them had a cell phone, I feel like did they even talk about that, like Fox Mulder on the internet or something like that when they brought the series back? It was just like an absolute wormhole for him, like he just couldn't get out of it because of all of the conspiracies and everything that feeds his thought vortexes, like he was just getting sucked down into them. I know, Mr. David Duchovny, you probably are incredibly busy and have a million projects on your plate at this moment, but that would be probably one of the coolest things ever if Fox Mulder had a podcast, or a conspiracy podcast, or if Fox Mulder, or if the Lone Gunman, if the Lone Gunman had a YouTube channel that was completely like filmed, you know, like in a dark basement, not this dark, and this is a bright basement, this ain't a dark basement, but in a dark basement, like super like leaning into their character tropes, I think that kind of thing that could be amazing. Because even like thinking about the Lone Gunman right now, they literally look to me like how I think of Reddit moderators. Like it just but I do feel that X-Files, that show, that premise of the show, everything that could be brought back. You know, like what type of mysteries could actually still exist in today's modern society, despite our access to information that would usually put out the fires that a lot of these conspiracies use to keep on going, you know? Like it could be even more exciting. This could be super cool.